Um, a couple of the really interesting things that maybe people do or don't bring up, but I found to be fascinating was the story of your sister's ring that you had, and will you tell that story for me? Because I this is just
Yeah, right. You know, those moments when you know that this isn't it, this life that we're living now, that there is more on the other side of the veil. I've been blessed to have some situations like that to just sort of prove to me that there is more. Well, when Shelley was sick, and she was a very devout Christian, she loved Jesus. But when she was sick, she would always say, you know, don't worry. If I die or when I die, I'll do voodoo. And she would kind of whisper because she didn't know if that was okay for her to even suggest that she would give me signs from the other side that there's more once you die. She always promised me that she would do that. She said, I'll do voodoo. And she would call it her dirt nap too. She said, I will do voodoo after my dirt nap to prove to you that there is more than this life and that Jesus is real. And so, so the morning she died, I went home and I lived in South Laguna Beach, and I had, you know, I was right across the beach from the ocean, or across the street from the ocean, and I just started drinking heavily, and I was just, you know, processing the whole thing, maybe not in a healthy way, but I was, you know, really upset, just really upset for obviously. And so what happened was a friend of mine that I worked with, we waited tables together at the Claim Jumper. He showed up unannounced with a big giant bouquet of flowers for me, you know, to show that, you know, show he cared and pay his respects. But he actually brought a friend with him that I had never met. And so as he's walking up to my porch with this friend, you know, I'm mad. I'm like, why would you bring someone? Because I was a mess. Why would you bring someone that I don't even know over right now while I'm mourning? And I remember thinking that I was mad that he did that. And so anyway, they were there and we were talking, and I looked down at this stranger's hand, and she had this ring on, and it was 3 dolphins, sterling silver ring with 3 dolphins. And I'm looking at this ring, and, you know, suddenly I remember that my sister had given me a ring just like that. And I remember getting very angry again because I was thinking that I really wish I had that ring right now, because now she's dead and she's gone, and I should have that ring. And I was mad at myself because I was irresponsible and I lose things. And, you know, she said to me, she looks at me and she said, well, were you at a party at, you know, Bryce's house about a year and a half ago? Da, 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 da. And I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I was there. I was at that party. She's like, well, this ring might actually be yours because I found it the next day behind the couch. And it's such a nice ring. I figured I'd just wear it. And then maybe if I came across the owner, they would recognize it and I'd be able to give it back to them. So letting these things sink in, I realized, holy cow, that was my ring. That was my ring that my sister had given to me many years before. She was wearing it and she brought it to me. And it was literally just a couple hours after my sister died that I was given back this ring through these very strange and abnormal circumstances. And, you know, I still have it, of course. I wear it all the time. And at that moment, you know, there was some rest in my grieving because my sister had done her voodoo. She had done it. What are the chances? I don't really believe in coincidence, first of all, but what are the odds that just a couple hours after she died, that I would get a ring from her that I had lost like a year and a half before that. And so I actually wrote a long story about that. I called it voodoo. And yeah, so that was how I got my ring back from my sister.
Yeah, I was so blown away by that one story in particular. Just like, pff, no way of explaining that one other than
No
how
way.
you just explained it.
There's just no way to explain that. And she's, there's been things, she's keeping her word to prove to me and do her voodoo, as she called it, to prove to me that this isn't it. When you die, there's more. And I'm lucky and I'm grateful for that. And, obviously I still feel very connected to her.
Well, I'm grateful for it too, just because of the amazing story like that. That was probably
Right.
my most excited thing to hear you tell that story.